Good morning, guys. Hopefully the audio is not too bad today. It is quite windy out here, but I'll do my best to talk close to this so you can hear me. So today what we're going to talk about is how to go about improving your airs. So getting them cleaner, getting them higher, coming out of them with more speed, and basically just getting more comfortable with them. And that last point is super important, getting comfortable with your airs, because what you'll find out, and the key, what this whole video is based around, is like the height of your airs and how clean your airs are really at the end of the day just comes down to how comfortable you are with your airs. It's not really a matter of pushing yourself and like pushing through your fear as much as it's a matter of just literally practicing just again and again and again, like day in and day out. The more you practice, like the higher you'll be able to air, and it'll just be easy. So at the end of the day, it all just comes down to comfort. So what I'm going to do is I've got like a bunch of drills and points here that I've written down just to help you get more comfortable with your airs, and so you can get higher and cleaner and you can do more tricks in them and all of that. So just the last point that I'll say before we start is that it's a process that happens over weeks and months. You're not really going to get good, solid, comfortable, clean airs in a single afternoon. This is something that will take months of practice to really get the hang of. Like, I mean, they'll improve in a day, but like they'll really improve over a couple of months and even years. Like years of practice on different ramps at different skate parks, doing different tricks and so forth is what it'll really take. So with that said, all the boring shit. Here's a couple of points for you to practice. So every time you come down to the skate park, what I'd recommend, this is what I do, is I just do like, I don't know, just 10 tricks, 10 airs, simple airs just on the biggest ramp or on any ramp, do multiple ramps. And just what I do is every time I do an air is I practice, I've got 4 points that I make sure that I hit. The first point is that I land clean right at the top. So when I'm coming down, I make sure I land right in the top of the ramp, and as I'm coming down to the transition of the ramp, I make sure I pump out of it. Make that a habit. If you do that every time you practice, you'll get into a really good habit of keeping your speed after your airs, and that'll just help you flow around parks a lot better. You'll be able to, hit other ramps after that with heaps of speed, and it'll look a lot cleaner and nicer. The other thing that I do is I practice both carving across when I air and going straight up and down. You want to be able to do both because different ramps will require different things. The mellower ramps tend to require you to pop out more, and you can pop out more by carving, it seems. So if you carve it across, sometimes you can stay in the more mellow ramps a lot easier and go a bit higher. It also helps you get to different parts of the skate park if you're trying to put together a big line where you need to carve across. So, but generally you will go higher if you just hit it straight up and down as well, so keep that in mind. But practice both, that's something that you should definitely do. And the other point is to do them oppo as well. So if you usually air to your toe side, practice going back the other way. It's super weird and you probably won't do it a whole lot, but I've been doing it recently and it does feel good, and like sometimes every now and again you will need to air the other way if you want to do a strange like transfer or like get to a different part of the park. It's better than doing alley-oops, so practice airing oppo. I guess you could practice airing alley-oops too. And the final point, and this is probably one of the most important ones, is there's a special sort of touch that you get once you start to air a lot, where when you hit the ramp, you jump at the top, but instead of just like kind of jumping, you kind of snap it with your back wheel, and you snap the coping with your back wheel. I'll put a video over this of me doing it in slow motion, so maybe that'll kind of explain it. But basically when you get the hang of this, it's kind of like a jump upwards or a snap upwards. Your air's like almost double in size, like it's crazy. It's like once you learn how to hit the ramp properly, it's like you can suddenly just go heaps higher. The best way I can explain it is it's kind of like a bunny hop. Instead of jumping off both wheels, you kind of lift the front up and then you kind of extend your legs and kick the coping with your wheel and launch yourself up. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, that's the best I can explain it. But so after you've got all that down and you're focusing on all of those things while you're airing, and that's relatively easy, start adding tricks in, so do the exact same thing, but start doing like, I don't know, just bar spins, tail whips, no handers. No handers and inverts are good ones to do. And when you're doing like the bar spins and the tail whips in particular, something just to keep in mind if you're trying to go high is resist the urge to do your air differently than what you normally would. Like sometimes it's easy to get caught up on focusing on the bar spin or the tail whip, and so you kind of butcher your takeoff, and like you'll land all funny and you'll land kind of flat. what you really want to try and do is you want to be able to take off for your trick the same way that you take off for a normal air and still land the way that you would even if you weren't doing a trick. So like you want to get your air down just like perfect, and then while you're in the air, then you can focus on doing whatever tricks you've got the time for. But always the air is the priority. You don't want to sacrifice the quality of the air just to land like a triple bar or something like that and land flat, you know? I mean, it's up to you. Like if you prefer bangers and like landing flat, and that's cool, but I think it's a lot sweeter if you can land smooth after doing like a triple bar or something, you know? It'll take more practice, but that's an especially important point when you're doing whips, by the way. Like I find when I try to do tail whip airs is I try to jump kind of early, and I always land really awkward when I'm coming down. So the way that I've got around that is I focus on taking off from the air, and then after I've taken off is I force myself to just wait like a fraction of a second, and then I'll do the tail whip. So that's it. Those are all the points. Just to give you some kind of like concrete, tangible things that you can take away from this in practice. Like if you want a routine, maybe just focus on doing maybe every time you go to the skate park, say a couple of times a week, just do like 10 airs on maybe 2 different ramps, and just focus on all those points that I mentioned, like landing at the top and pumping out. Do some of them carved, do some of them straight up and down, and do some of them oppo, and make sure you kick the coping on them as well. Alright, that's basically it. That's all the points that I've got. I'll put some slow motion clips at the end of this. Let me know if this was helpful. If there's anything you want me to clarify, leave me a comment and I'll do my best to explain myself. But that's it. I'm going to go get you guys some clips now to put over this video. Peace out, guys. Alright, I'm back. While I was riding getting those clips, 3 more ideas came to me. I think I might have already talked about 1 or 2 of them, but the one that I definitely didn't talk about was your posture when you're in the air. When you do the airs, it's very important that you stay, like while you're in the air, you want to be upright and like in control, like not fully straight like a pencil, but like relaxed in the air. You don't want your legs to be crunched into a cannonball. You don't want to have your upper body awkwardly twisted to make sure that you come down into the down ramp. You want your center of mass to come up and straight down with you perfectly balanced and able to, you know, like do turndowns, do tucks or whatever, just like no issue without throwing yourself off balance or needing to worry about moving your body to make sure you land in the ramp properly. You want to be perfectly centered and on balance. And also laid out and upright. You want to be upright. Because that way it's just much easier to do tricks, and you're in more control in case you need to turn at the last second or something. Just let me get the rest of... I jotted the points down. So that's the first one. Make sure that your posture is good while you're in the air. The second one, I think I might have mentioned this, but make sure you start small. When you're doing airs, you're not going to be able to go like sky high right from the beginning. Make sure you just practice like just nipping the coping, just coming in and out. Maybe you can't even get to the coping yet, that's fine. Just practice what I mentioned, how you kind of bunny hop out and snap off the ramp, and then when you come down, make sure you pump at the bottom of the transition. And just sit in the bowl. Like there will be a clip of me at the skate park today just doing that. I was going back and forwards just in the bowl, just practicing my airs and getting comfortable. Do that until you're tired, take a break, and then just do it again. And do that every time you come down to the skate park, and you'll be surprised at how quick you improve. And the last point is when you're doing tricks in airs, I definitely mentioned this one, but I'm going to rehash it again. When you're doing tricks in airs, just be very careful that you don't change the way that you air. Fuck, this place is noisy. Be careful that you don't change the way that you air just because you're doing a trick. Like I was just filming like tucking handers and inverts and bar spins and that then, and every now and again I'd stuff one up, and the reason that I stuffed it up and had to slip a foot or whatever was when I took off differently because I was expecting the invert to happen or the bar spin to happen. You got to make sure that you air exactly the same as if you're doing nothing, and then once you're in the air and your trajectory is like already perfect and you're going to come down in the right spot, then you can worry about doing the bar spins and the whips and that while you're in the air. And the good thing about that is like, if you've already got your air perfect and you already know that you're going to land, then you can just do whatever tricks you know you've got time for. And you can, say you're going to do a double bar, you might find that you didn't go high enough in the air, and then you can just do the single bar and you can still land because you know that your air is going to be fine. Alright, so that's the end. If you like this video, let me know. If you've got any requests for other tutorials, let me know. If there's any questions about this, things that weren't clear, then just leave me a comment and I'll get around to it. That's it, guys. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one.